about $25,000 Ether, a $1,000 XRP, 1 point something million dollar.
On the other side, it's like this crypto Max 7, Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana XRP. They constantly got this Wall Street money.
We've ended the war on crypto, and I think we're trying to stop the regulatory capture that benefits large incumbents. So
yeah, I mean, I think, at a high level, I think, Ripple really wants to have, the XRP ledger and sort of, its tentacles really on the whole financial infrastructure.
They try to shake me out, but I was born ready. Dropping down the price, then I'll be getting plenty. They want all your bags and they want all them empty.
Is the 4-year cycle now a 5-year cycle? And should we see a peak in 2026? Also, XRPs slowly creeping back up. Long ways to go, but hopefully we can get back above $3. Welcome back to some more Moon O'Clock News. We got some extra bullishness for you. XRP community, as always, none of this is financial advice. David Schwartz says, as promised, I'd have an update on my next adventure soon, right? Well, here's the start. I'll be a strategic advisor for Evernorth XRP, helmed by my friend Ashish Go Blue. Evernorth was founded by a regulated saleable investment vehicle to tap into opportunities for XRP and DeFi and capital markets, extending the entire XRP ecosystem. He says he's excited to get started. XRP Crow says they're still not bullish enough on XRP. Evernorth XRP will manage over 560 million XRP, becoming the largest publicly listed XRP treasury. 1.1 billion raised, including 300 million from Ripple, 200 million from SBI, 645 million from institutional investors. Strategic advisor Brad Garlandhouse, David Schwartz, Joe Katz, board Ashish Barilla, Stu Alderati. What you need to know about Evernorth, the recently announced XRP treasury company, Evernorth Holdings, X Anderson, all roads lead to the bridge. Where's XRP at some point?
Just the beginning of the end of summer, we were getting a smorgasbord of news about $25,000 Ether, a $1,000 XRP, 1 point something million dollar Bitcoin. The conviction is quite high. It does make sense, of course, as we keep hearing these partnerships, countries buying, mining coins, accumulating these reserves and these treasuries and all of these strategies, if you will. I do assume at some point XRP is going to hit $15. It just makes logical sense. I saw something recently where they were like, analysts were talking over the next few years for Dogecoin, and someone was like, yeah, we're expecting a $3.80 to a $4.20 Dogecoin. And I was like, it makes sense. Dogecoin supply is, anyway, it makes a lot of sense. So for XRP as well, for Bitcoin as well, prices will not always remain where they are. We keep seeing more adoption. $32 does make sense. It's just more of a, when?
$15 to $30 XRP. Let me know your thoughts down below. Digital asset investor, digital asset Bionics. XRP will eat well from Wall Street.
Current crypto, it's a quite sort of on two sides. One side, on the small altcoins, for them surviving is already super tough because it's very difficult to get liquidity, difficult to get users, and difficult to get VC money. On the other side, it's like this crypto Max 7, Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana XRP. They constantly got this Wall Street money for DAT and all the things. So that's why if we look at the overall market cap, right, it doesn't change much because Bitcoin and ETH, their sort of ratio much higher, but the small ones become lower and lower. So I just feel after this, it takes a long time for these kind of small businesses to recover for the next few months or next 1 or 2 years. But for the big tickers or the major coins, I think they will eat well from the Wall Street and also the big institutions.
Yeah. Get ready to eat well. Good glitches. Bank XRP. Eric Trump says Barron Trump loves crypto.
Barron loves crypto. I think I'm the first one in my family to find it. Barron, I think, had fun with some of the, the different meme coins and fun projects. But Barron certainly loves it, and it's a big part of our relationship together. And he has a lot of fun with it. And when I started World Liberty a come on, buddy, let's go. Let's have some fun with this. And Don's been amazing. Obviously, my brother Don, and he's been on the stages around the world as well, and he's had a lot of fun with it as well. But we're also damn serious about it, right? We're serious people.
Trending Bitcoin, President Trump's crypto czar says the upcoming regulation could spark a crypto boom.
We did repeal Biden's exec order on AI, which was 100 pages of unnecessary regulation on AI. We've ended the war on crypto, and I think we're trying to stop the regulatory capture that benefits large incumbents. So you have all these things, and there's been other things that have been done on the economy as well. But I do think that this sets us up for a Trump boom in the future. It's just that a lot of these changes take time to play out.
Riz XRP, choose wisely. XRP.
Back to that point, blockchain is exciting, digital assets are exciting, crypto is exciting, but people have to remember the vast majority of crypto assets by number will be worthless, right? And so people have to be very careful and discerning in terms of where they're placing their bets, how they're trading, and certainly when it comes to using leverage.
Digital asset investor, what's Ripple trying to do here? Explain the Ripple plan.
What's Ripple trying to do here?
Well,
hit it, Dom.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at a high level, I think, Ripple really wants to have, the XRP ledger and sort of, its tentacles really on the whole financial infrastructure that powers the world. So obviously, Hidden Road on the brokerage side, Treasury just now on the treasury side, Rail as well on the stablecoin side. And I think, once you start to see all of those different pieces come together, that's really where you're going to start to see sort of, the power of what they've been building over the last many years. So I think that's really the goal, it's to make sure that no matter which bit of the financial infrastructure someone is interfacing with, they are ultimately, indirectly, even if they don't know it, touching, an aspect of Ripple's tech. And I think, you see that as well with many of the other companies that have really sort of, taken off in the tech space. A great example is Facebook, which is now obviously called Meta. They bought Instagram, then they bought WhatsApp, and then they bought, all these other different companies. And, when you're interacting with Facebook and you think of Meta, many people don't know that, there are actually a whole host of other companies underneath them, like WhatsApp and Instagram. And, these are standalone companies that were then rolled up and actually became much more valuable once they all came together. So I think that's really sort of the high level structure of what's happening. And ultimately, there's a ton more that maybe Phil wants to touch on as well.
Do you think, Phil, that this plays into a long-term strategy, or do you feel like these are just opportunities that are coming across Ripple's desk and they're like saying, hey, we cannot not buy this company?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I don't want to say anything that's not, public yet, but I think if you, from the outside, if you look at Ripple's approach, it's always been different to the traditional sort of, well, I'd say traditional, but the prevailing cypherpunk sort of approach. If you look at the different strands that crypto really started off from, those Bitcoin, right, which I'd say is more on the cypherpunk tradition. The first post that Jed McCaleb made on Bitcoin Talk was about XRP, or as a better alternative to Bitcoin, right? It was just his idea. And then the whole ethos behind Ripple and where it came from was, look, we need to build on what's come before, right? We're not going to build this all just from nothing. We've got to work with the existing financial system. And if you see what Chris Larson talks about as well, he always talks about how there has never been a big technological shift which hasn't built on what's come before. And I think that what you see happening with Ripple is really in that ethos. It's in the ethos that, look, we're going to build on what's happened before. We're going to work together with institutions. And Ripple has been executing that playbook over the past decade. It's been to work with banks rather than to actually try and say, look, we're going to completely put banks aside. We're going to put them out of business, which has been more what other parts of DeFi have done, right? It's going to be like, we'll kill JP Morgan, whereas Ripple has more been, look, we're going to work together with banking institutions. We're going to work together with all these different financial institutions. And so I think that what you're starting to see right now, and what we can, talk to publicly, is we are seeing that there's more of what you're seeing is just this strategy really coming into the fore, and you're starting to see Ripple make big moves to actually capture that and cement what's been building over the past decade.
Altcoin Daily, Raul Powell, the 4-year cycle is now a 5-year cycle. Bitcoin should peak in 2026, probably Q2.
Why is Bitcoin sort of not wildly off to the races yet? And it's this chart. Bitcoin is basically, this is a detrended Bitcoin, and it's basically the ISM, which is the business cycle. Remember, we've always said it's the business cycle stupid. It is always the business cycle stupid. And all of these people who claim it's the 4-year cycle based around this and that, they don't understand the fundamental of what the business cycle is, why there's a 4-year cycle in everything. And we've explained it, and we'll go through it in great detail tomorrow in our Everything Code presentation. But basically, it's following the ISM. And rates have been following the same pattern. You see, rates should have come lower. They need to come lower because we need to roll the debt. We've talked about this. That's part of the Everything Code, fundamental part. And ISM, because rates are so high, has meant that Main Street has been screwed while Wall Street's made money from debasement. Earnings versus scarce assets. This is the issue that they need to solve, and they need to get rates lower. They get rates lower. Why? Why do we have an elongated business cycle that looks like virtually no other real other time? It's because, and I only just found this out redoing the work on the Everything Code recently, is that in 2021-22, they actually extended the maturity of the debt from 4 years to 5 years. So that extension of the maturity of debt has pushed out the business cycle a year. The 4-year cycle this time around is a 5-year cycle. We don't know what the next one will be until we see where they all end up getting refinanced. Whether it comes back to 4 because they managed to get some stuff at the long end, or whether they shorten it because everything's in the short end. We don't know yet. But this one is a 5-year cycle. And this is what it looks like. A 5.4-year sine curve. 5.4 years is the exact average weighted maturity of the debt. And it tells us the ISM should peak by 2026. We think liquidity probably peaks before that, as the rate of change of ISM changes and the rate of change of liquidity changes. Our best guess remains well into 2026, probably Q2.
We got one from Flare Networks, a simple on-chain way for XRP holders to earn yield safely and transparently.
So we approached a very large, effectively DeFi entity in the US that we know well and works with us on our ecosystem called Centura. We said, look, we think there's a really great opportunity here to build a very simple product for XRP holders that allows them to earn a yield, be comfortable with where that yield comes from, be comfortable that you're not messing around with the tokens whilst they're locked away, so that it's all on chain, non-custodial, and effectively a very simple protocol that enables them to get a yield on this asset that doesn't have a yield. That's called Firelight, and its first major product is effectively ensuring blue chip DeFi ecosystems, which are incredibly low risk, so very close to staking yield, very close to the risk level of staking yield. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of our starting point, and from that staking protocol you get a staked representation of your XRP, staked XRP. You can then take that staked XRP, and if you wish to, you can do more with it in the ecosystem, either yourself, or you can hand it off to a manager, what's known as a risk curator, to effectively work it for you by, going to get yield further on that staked XRP. So that lets you get yield on the base XRP and then yield on the staked XRP, which increases your yield on effectively on the base XRP.
Alts have never been this oversold. MACD bullish cross forming again. 2 out of 3 times it triggered all season explosions. Will this time be different? And don't forget that altcoins are in a falling wedge that has been forming for more than 4 years. Big things are coming. We're still in the accumulation phase. Nothing has changed. Don't let yourself be unsettled. Your biggest enemy is patience. Higher. And the longer they take, the higher we keep climbing on that XRP. Rich list, top 10% holder, 2,350.
Big bag.
XRP. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in for another one. Good glitches. Make sure to smash some likies and subscribies on the way out to boost those algos. And check the links in the description. We'll see you at the tippy top. Later, glitches.
Later, glitches.
No matrix time. Unplug from the matrix, it's our time to leave. Bank money gon' pump us to infinity. Hey, we holding up the light, the Holy Trinity. We punching out the clock and we finally free, ayy. Traveling different islands, moon party overseas. Hope you got the prize, a couple NFTs, ayy. Cause soon Batman be ghost, you won't be seeing me. Bunch of copycat clones wanna be me, ayy. Tried to give them light, but they still can't see. When we finally taking flight, move commander the fleets. Kept adding to the bags when the price was cheap, ayy. We live in a world behind, taking flight overnight. 4-3 to the tune, change up the whole vibe, ayy. They screaming one more moon party, one more night. The mothership blast off, yeah, we taking flight. Leaving the world behind, yeah, we gone for life.